identify our umbilicus and our pubis. Normally in a canine spay, our incision is based on the caudal part of the cranial third and the cranial part of the middle third. Because this is a pyo, we're going to do a big incision. So really we're just going to big and bold through the skin, much bigger than we normally would. We followed it up with our Metson balms, big and bold through the subcutaneous tissue, all the way down to the linea alba. You can see that this female has a fair bit of subcut fat, a lot of subcut fat. Wouldn't mind grabbing some hemostats, and as we hit a vessel, we may use them. Just trying to get all the way down to our linea alba. Not giving too much blood, which is good. So we exposed the linea alba pretty well there. We'll just make sure it's pretty good back here. Good. Now with our blade turned to the sky, that's all right. We're going to go through the linea alba, so we pick it up. As there is a possible pyo underneath, we're going to be a bit cautious going in. We don't want to dive in and accidentally hit something. Good. We're now going to find our uterus. Just like always, spay hook faces forward or back, all the way down to the body, the dorsum of the dog. We then go towards midline and come up, nice and carefully. That's going to be the broad ligament. That's going to be our pyo. So today we're going to do a direct method of breaking the suspensory ligament. So just for your anatomy, obviously this is our uterine horn. Because we are so fatty, you can't really see the uterine artery, but it will be running in there. This is the proctor ligament, which is the connection between the uterine horn and the ovary. That is the strongest part to hold on to. What I'm going to do is with my finger, I feel the ovary and then I trace beyond the ovary, feeling the suspensory that travels all the way down. I can feel it traveling all the way down to the lateral body wall. I pick a point that is midway between the ovary and the lateral wall, and then I go cranial and medial with my finger to break it. And I'm just literally touching the top surface, so tracing between the ovary, midway between the body wall and the ovary, feeling that tight band. Going cranially and medially to break it. That's a very safe way in a pyo to break it. In a bit like this, you can't really see where our pedicle is. So we're just going to break through it slowly and safely. Good. Bring on our first hemostats. Today we'll do a modified two clamp technique, so 2 hemostats on, feeling for where that ovary is and making sure but I'm not including it at all. We're going to aim to do one really good ligature. As always, we go underneath our hemostats, through the hole. Surgeon's knot, because we've got a large wad of tissue in between our two hemostats. I'm going to grab our bottom hemostat, come up, into the crush. We've got our surgeon's knot. You wouldn't mind just holding that, just like that, so it doesn't flip over. Perfect. Thumb to thumb. We're going to roll our hands in together and hold our ligature for 5 to 10 seconds.
Good song that.
Thank you, Will. After 5 to 10 seconds, the suture should take on the memory of the knot, and we're going to follow it up with 4 to 5 throws. And another one for good measure.
A lot of foreign material left in there. Sure.
As always, we do our check, so we make sure that our ligature is including any of the subcut up the top. We make sure that there's plenty of tissue between our ligature and the hemostat. There's a nice wad of tissue. And we make sure that our ligature has crushed down nicely, which it has. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to cut on top of our clamp. Then we're going to slowly release our pedicle, making sure that there is no evidence whatsoever of bleeding. There isn't, which is good.
That one deserves a high five, Ted. Give it to me.
Stop it, Will. We are now going to, so I actually can see our uterine artery. We always locate that, make a hole, and break away from it. I'm just going to use some scissors. You don't mind holding that there. What we're doing is we're paying very close attention for any bleeders. If there is any, we'll ligate them. No bleeders there. I may just ligate this a little bit here. Just in case. All good, no bleeding. So that's one side done. We now move on to our second side. That's the bleeding there. Good. So we're going to rinse and repeat. Uterine horn, we feel for our proper ligament. How do we put tension on the suspensory? It's by moving and putting some pressure down and towards the other leg. With my finger, I'm going to feel from the ovary, feel that suspensory as it travels all the way to the lateral wall. And this time round, again, it's cranial and medial with my thumb, just playing with the top of that ligament. Good. Very good. This is the right hand side, so naturally it's going to be a bit tighter. Very carefully we have a look at our very fat broad ligament. We're going to break down and make a hole. So there. One. So 2 clamps on. As always, we go underneath the hemostats, we find our hole, go through it nice and carefully. Surgeon's knot. Release our bottom hemostat. You mind just holding that just like that for a moment. Into the crush. Thumb to thumb. Just like last time, we're going to hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. This forces the suture material to take on the memory of the knot that we're trying to do. And we follow that up with 4 to 5 throws. Making sure each one's nice and tight, because this is a fatty dog. You feel it's quite easy just to slip around on that suture. Just like last time, we do our checks. So we make sure that our suture isn't stuck in anything superficial. We make sure that there's a nice wad of tissue beyond our ligature, which there is. There's plenty of space between our ligature and our hemostat. We're going to carefully cut on top of that bottom hemostat. I have my hand on the ovary, so I know that. Actually, before we do that, we'll place on a clamp. Good reminder. Good. Just running above that bottom clamp, making sure that we're not going through the ovary. Good. Excellent. Now, just like last time, we very, very slowly release our pedicle, making sure that it's not bleeding whatsoever. Back into the abdomen. Have a look at our broad ligament. We can just see there is our uterine artery. Make a hole close to it. Very, very carefully and slowly we go through our fatty broad ligament, looking for any bleeders. As we go. All good. have gone through we've removed both of our ovaries. We've got to do the entirety of the uterus. Any more straight? Yeah.
How would you look at it? Never mind the curve, sorry.
What I do a curved one at the top. And a straight one. Love it. Being a very thick bit of tissue, we'll do a Miller's knot, so underneath the hemostats. Go underneath once, we repeat the process underneath the second time. Modified Miller's, we go through the hole, wrap around once, grab our loose end. In our crush, thumb to thumb, rolling our hands in together. To make sure that we get it completely crushed down, I'm actually going to loosen this top hemostat for a moment. Good. Just follow up, as always, with 4 to 5. A lot of people do different things when it comes to the actual transecting part. For me, I just oversew the end, which I think is simple and easy. I'll grab another one, transect in between them. Done that better. Bella, do you mind grabbing that bin? Actually, that's right. I'll put it over here for a moment, Bella. Beautiful. To oversew, all we do is we, on one side, start, do a knot. Just run along. All we're trying to do is just push those ends together. Good, we'll move that hemostat. Wouldn't mind holding that up there. So now remove that. Right, maybe just tighten that up.
It's nice. No blood surgery there.
Thank you, Will.
I like it.
Well, good. There's always the option if you wish to flush things, but as you can see that we really haven't contaminated the abdomen. I don't see any real reason to do any local flushing. Good. So have a look. Our ligature's done its good job. There's not any bleeding there. Happy. Awesome. Closure is just going to be routine. We are going to use a larger suture material just because we are a larger dog. You wouldn't mind just holding that side. Going down, finding our external rectus sheath. This one's very fatty, so make sure I engage it completely. Good. Last thing we want to do is just engage the fat. Don't mind holding that there. Every 3 I'll pull through. So now we just run along. Good, now pull through. Yeah, you just hold it again, all good. Making sure we go all the way to the point of the incision. Nice and tight. Can I have some 2-0, please? Yo. As always for the subcut, we start deep to superficial. Superficial to deep. Grab a hemostat, leave a tail. Run along. Every once in a while we'll go down and we'll grab our linear alba just to reduce the chance of a seroma. Every 2 or 3. When we get close to the end, deep to superficial, and superficial to deep. Once we're deep, we then go deep to superficial on one side, flip over to the other side. You wouldn't mind just holding that there. Perfect. Superficial to deep, ending up with 2 things that are deep. We'll do an Aberdean's knot, nice and easy. Going underneath our Aberdean's knot to the most superficial point of our incision. Trying to make sure that we're not tangling everything up, which I have a tendency to do. And then we just run back and do our intradermals. Don't mind grabbing some swabs there. And just dabbing every once in a while, that'd be great. Thank you. So wherever we come out, we go in on the other side. With each pass, we have a look and see how it's coming together. If we're not happy, we just back it out. And just do it again. Not every Pyometra is the same. I think it's important to know that sometimes they can be relatively straightforward like this one. Sometimes they can be on the brink of rupturing. Sometimes they will have ruptured, although not that common, where you've got to do a lot of more flushing and so now that we're close to the end, we'll dance around our tail. So I'm going to go superficial to superficial on this side, all the way to the point of the incision, or close to. I dance around my tail, go to the other side where I'll go superficial to deep, having two things that are deep. Hopefully will help close, help bury the knot. It looks nice and buried, so we're just going to snip it off straight away. Done.